Okay.
Wait a minute, there's two of these.
Yeah, just one keep going.
It looks like one of these things they put on your finger when you go to the hospital. Yeah. So I was kind of happily surprised when I came in and I saw the entrance to Sri Vrindavan Dham. That was kind of the old entrance. Not exactly the same anymore, but that's what I remember in the early 90s going into Vrindavan. Yeah. I'm happy to be here with Sri Sri Radhanatha Nitai, Jagannath Subhadra Baladev, and all of you. I had spent 5 weeks. I spent 2 weeks in California, and then I went to India for 2 weeks. And the first week was in Sri Vrindavan Dham, and I was speaking every night to a yatra of enthusiastic devotees from Russia. And yeah, it's Diana. And then, so that was 1 week, and then the next week I skipped over to Mayapur, where Srila Radhanath Swami and 12,000 of his nearest and dearest friends. And it was the yatra, and it was, anybody here was there? I did. An amazingly well organized. It was just, I hadn't gone for quite a while to the big yatras because it just every time I did, I'd get sick. I don't mean like a little sniffle. I'd be having IVs in my arm and end up in a hospital. I just thought, just stay back. But I had such a desire this time, and I thought, okay, I'm old enough to die. I can go. Whatever happens, no problem. But it was so beautifully organized, right down to every detail. It's such great enthusiasm. Every day they posted the prasadam menu, and there was like spicy, non-spicy, and then things in between every day. And there was ladies and other male cooks, this gigantic, huge outdoor kitchen. One day they made 16,000 uttapams. Then they made 18,000 chapatis. And we're not talking like, sometimes you get these like rubbery, hard to chew chapatis. These were very expertly made chapatis. And everything that they provided was just amazingly well prepared. And the level of enthusiasm. I mean, a lot of times you get the hard bowl. I mean, that's one type of enthusiasm. But when you have, coming from the heart, active participatory enthusiasm, this was what I was, very happily noticing. It was wonderful. And then, so that was 1 week, and then I went to London for 1 week. And many did some programs there. Of course, at the Manor. I was staying near the Manor. And then last weekend I came back. So, came back to New Vrindavan. So I don't have a particular verse today. I'm just going to speak a little bit about Vrindavan and Srila Prabhupada's participatory role in Vrindavan. Now, most of us, we go, we're kind of like onlookers. He was participating in the actual leelas of Vrindavan and taking us around. But just for the mood, the message, we'll chant Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava, Radhe
Kunja Bihari
Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare You see that to come here? Oh, yeah, I was mentioning how I'd been to California and to Vrindavan and Mayapur and UK, and I just now came from Indianapolis. We have a little center there. Anybody here been to our little place in Indianapolis yet? Okay, well, yeah. I mean, it's like a little under 3 hours. I mean, say 3 hours. But if you're going west over 70, jump off it. It's not a day-by-day center due to the dynamics. It hasn't been since its inception. We had a little church up until recently, and it was a great building, but it was in the middle of nowhere. Like the first time I went, I thought I was lost because suddenly I'm in cornfields. And then I couldn't get a signal on my phone to call and say, where am I? Then I got somebody and I said, I'm in the middle of cornfields. Am I lost? Oh, no, it's just you. You're fine. And then there was this little tiny town. And because it was Indiana, which can sometimes be a little radical, I don't know if you've heard of the Ku Klux Klan, that kind of radical, meaning heavy racism. At first, we weren't sure how the local people might respond to a situation like this. So that town had a library and it had a little small police station. So on Sundays, we paid for a police car and a policeman just park in front of the temple and be there, And after some time, we realized everything was fine. Nobody was freaking out. We weren't getting any, messages like, hey, get out of here or else. Nothing, and people kind of waved if they were about. So then we discontinued that practice and went on. But it was just the location was just too weird to have, something going on. So now they have this little place, which is in a very nice building, actually. But our place is down in the bottom. There's an elevator, and it's a very modern type of brick building with medical offices and medical doctors and stuff like that. And from what I can see, they got to start looking for a new place because people are coming. Now we're at a place that's easy access. It's a little bit outside. It's called Carmel, Indiana, and so people are coming. So it means that, on Janmashtami, they were just blown away. They didn't expect the amount of people. and there just wasn't even room for them, you know. So, but that's a good problem. You know, I had the same thing was going on in Grand Rapids. Anybody been up there at all to see? When were you last there?
Not the new center, but I was there when they had the house in May 2023.
Okay, so that house, what you're talking about, that Krishna house, they got a thing. They want to make a Krishna. They started out in a basement of somebody's, enthusiastic. That's when I first met them, the devotees there. So it was a basement, like of somebody's townhouse in a subdivision, and the devotees were so enthusiastic in their preaching that soon became clear we weren't going to be able to go anywhere in the basement of somebody's, And then somebody had a bigger, but it was a home bigger. Okay, we were there, but it got clear that wasn't going to work. And then we found a nice church that allowed us to do our program on Saturdays. It was a very nice facility, parking, everything you need, and no problem with, the neighbors and noise. But again, it wasn't our place. We needed our place. And so then I was pushing them to please go out and, preach to the local people. It's a college town there. It's not huge. It's a smaller, not like this, but it's medically based. A lot of medical situations going on. But go out and preach to these students. Just don't rely on the fact that people from India are going to come, because they'll come without us. Prabhupada said, you don't have to invite them; they'll come anyway. So it was going on, but we got this place. We did a major rehab reconstruction, but there was two things that I felt was not going to work too well. But they were on a roll and they were taking responsibility. So the two things were -0 parking. It didn't exist. I mean, okay, on the street, but we didn't have anything. And there were neighbors. I mean, pretty close. So I'm like, isn't this going to be a problem? Oh no, there's students, it won't matter. Well, guess what? Not everybody, student or not, likes to get woken up at 4 a.m. and likes to hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra throughout the evening. So we were getting regular visits with the police to our door. And so then but in the meantime, the preaching was going on, and a mixed crowd was coming. The Westerns were coming in, so the Indian devotees had found out that he could actually talk to Western people, and Western people were having no problem with the Indian devotees of all ages. So we really had to agree. We need another place, something that will, plus we had kids. And with this situation, it was very awkward, to have a place for the kids. And also we had a place, but it was like a glorified closet, So they called me up. We found they found a church. And at first I'm thinking, God, these old churches, it's just like going into haunted houses sometimes, and the plumbing is going to be like faulty, and the roof is going to need repairs, and the electricity is going to be archaic, because quite often that we had looked, like even in Pittsburgh, we had tried so hard to find, and they were always finding churches, and they were always like funky. So, okay, but they said, no, it's really good. So they had a whole plan how to manage the finances, so make an offer. And there were two offers, ours and a car dealership. And the car dealership had a larger offer. So obviously they were accepting the larger offer. But I think Krishna he was just watching how these devotees were struggling, and they were so sincere. And they kept pushing on and pushing on. And he took some mercy on them. The zoning people wouldn't allow the car dealership. And they weren't going to change. Like they thought they would get to flip the zoning, but the zoning people, no. So that left us. It was a church, it was an active church. And we're a church. No problem, There was a certified kitchen. Everything was there. So on August 6th, they had their last service. August 7th, Monday, we got the keys and did a real quick, changing around because Janmashtami was coming up. And it was, it was beautiful. They had the pew, churches have these pews, and usually there's just these wooden benches. These were padded, and they were really comfortable. So Prabhupada in Los Angeles, they got a church, but he said we should leave the pews so the local people would come and they will feel comfortable to sit down, right? So we decided, yeah, we're gonna, because it's a very big place, we'll take out in the front so that there's room for dancing, chanting, sitting, and then we'll have a substantial number of pews going into the back. And that turned out really well. And on the Janmashtami, the place was packed. All the pews were filled, and all the floors in the front were filled. And there was a really nice mixture of different people, diverse mixture of people. So it's going on. It's in great shape. There is some of this stuff is still under warranty, And one interesting feature, which you won't see up in the front where the altar space is, there's a bathtub. They did baptisms, immersions. But we won't be doing that, and eventually we'll probably remove it. Yeah, so it's great. There's a bus stop right in the front. It's kind of on a little bit raised plinth, so then there's a bus stop, and right across the street there's a Myers. I mean, most of you would know what a Myers is. I mean, you need something, you just get right across the street, and many of our people are working in the executive offices of Myers. So just like everything fell into place. So we're hoping that everything's going to fall into place here, and that next year we are going to be out there. And Janmashtami will be celebrating in our new temple project. So clap your hands and hurry bowl, but get down and do some heavy lifting too. It's going to need that. Anyway, how many of you are going on the walkthrough today? I'm going, yeah. So if you don't know what I mean, what time is it? 2:30? 3:30. Oh, okay, that's a bit late. Okay, so 3:30, out at the new property, there's a walkthrough to show you the amazing progress that has occurred. And, hopefully you'll feel really, hopeful and enthusiastic when you see this, like the walls are up, there's amazing progress has been made. And to see what's still left to be done and the plans for getting it finished. So it's please come out if you can. Get introduced to your new home. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is anybody new here, by the way? Okay, so I can just talk normally. I don't have to explain anything. Great. No, I mean, I don't mind explaining things, but so Chaitanya would like, so you say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and if somebody's new, they're like, what? But that's the point. Just take a pause here. So quite often I'm getting asked by different centers, so we need to get Radha and Krishna deities. And I'm like, why do you need to get, Prabhupada didn't really, immediately jump to that boat and recommended Gauri Thai. But people don't know Gauri Thai. And I said, aha, that's your fault. We're supposed to be a preaching and teaching mission. They don't know. Of course they don't know. Do you think we knew who Jagannath was? Do you think we knew who Gauri Thai was? Did you think we knew who Lord Nrsimhadev was? We didn't know any of that stuff. But we learned. And that's what ISKCON is about, to teach people, especially Gauri Thai. Because what did Gauranga do? He brought the Harinam Sankirtan movement, the very essence of our spiritual practice, came pushed forward by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, assisted by Nityananda. So when I hear that, I feel like crying. What? They don't know? It's up to you to make sure that people know and understand. And if you're feeling shy about it, then you got to take a pause and look into the mirror of your heart and say, what's holding me back? You know, you might think, oh, it's so much easier to avoid Gaur Nitai because they know Hare Krishna, but that's not the way it works, you know. And if we want to make some substantial spiritual advancement, then we ourselves have to be fully convinced. That is the thing. I can't convince anybody of anything if I'm not convinced, you know. So it's up to each one of us to have that little peek into your own heart and, you know, see where it is you need to bolster your own faith and understanding. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu valued Vrindavan very much. And when we see how the great personalities perceive Vrindavan, then we get some idea, some understanding how to enter Vrindavan. So that's why I really like that this picture. Yeah, you can enter Vrindavan. So one way is this is the old Parikrama path, and you're going to walk. That's one way of entering. But there's another level too. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to see Gopal Srinathji. And Srinathji, I mean, anybody here Gujarati? So you all know what I'm telling you know. So he wanted to see Gopalnathji. And Srinathji was residing on the top of Govardhan Hill. And practically, Lord Chaitanya was yearning to get his darshan. But he was seeing Govardhan as Krishna's body. So he wouldn't put his foot on Krishna's body. And he certainly, you know, some people say, oh, the Brihmasis do that. That's okay. They're part and parcel of the picture, you know, but we wouldn't even consider that, you know. So he circumambulated Govardhan Hill, but he was actually seeing Krishna directly, personally in Govardhan. He saw, this is Krishna, you know. And when he first approached Giriraj, he embraced the first stone he saw of Govardhan, and it was a big stone. You know, there are some big stones there. And he was weeping torrents of tears in the mood of Sri Radha. And he was embracing this body, this embodiment of Krishna. So Gopal had to arrange a very special pastime because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just desiring so much to see him. And likewise, Gopal wanted to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When we yearn, as much as we want to see Krishna, serve Krishna, Krishna has a similar response to his devotees, you know, and he makes arrangements. So one day while Lord Chaitanya was there, somebody came to the village of Anior. Is anybody here? I think some of you know this Anior. If you don't know, just make a little sign and I'll tell you. So everybody knows Anior? Okay, you don't. Okay, no problem. So this was a pastime where a big, there was an abhishek and there was this big ceremony of feeding Govardhan, Anakut ceremony. And massive amounts of prasadam, of food, the boga, then it became prasadam, was brought. And as much as was brought, it just like consumed it. And then it was gone. And he would call, Anayor, 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 give me more, give me more, give me more, you know. And so there's this little village there, Anayor. And there was this rumor. So this person came from that village, Anayor. It's not far from Govardhan. And they said there was a rumor that there was an army of soldiers coming. And there was issues happening sometimes in this way because of there were Turkish soldiers, in other words, you know, the Muslims coming. And the rumor was they were about to attack, you know, so that they should evacuate and they should hide Gopal. So they went up, these are the villages, they went up and they brought Srinathji down to a little village not far from Giriraj. And Lord Chaitanya went to that village and he didn't leave Srinathji Gopal for all those days. And he was just dancing, he was singing for Gopal. And then after some days, they realized actually that was just a rumor, and there wasn't ever any army or soldiers, So you can see how rumors can, we sometimes experience the effect of rumors, right? You hear something and you tell it and you get everybody all enthusiastic to do something, then you find out, oh my God, that was not even happening. So, so then they had a procession going back, and Lord Chaitanya was leading, and he was dancing and singing, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then they went to climb up on Govardhan Hill. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he stopped. He offered his stated obeisances, and this was his appreciation of Vrindavan. And he didn't take Vrindavan for granted. This was Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that he was not taking Vrindavan for granted. He was not taking Giriraj Govardhan for granted. So we're not supposed to see with our eyes. We're supposed to see through our ears, hearing. And as we hear how the great personalities have approached Vrajabhumi, and we read in the scriptures, we hear through the scriptures by reading, that's how we see, So Sri Radhakund is at the foot of Govardhan, none different from Radharani. And the water in that kund is Srimati Radharani's love. Her body, her love in liquid form, that's Radhakund. And Krishna personally spoke that, Sri Radha, you are most dear to me. In the same way, your kund, Radhakund, is most dear to me. And Srila Rupa Goswami describes the glories of Radhakund. And Raghunath Das Goswami, our Prayojana Acharya, he taught us that the highest limits of love of God, he made his residence on the bank of Radhakund. When Srila Prabhupada, so then there was a infamous pastime where Srila Prabhupada took us to Radhakund, had a group of devotees for the first time bringing a group of Westerners. We weren't like, thousands, we were like between 40 and 50. But we thought that was huge. It was like, so he took us, and each day we'd go somewhere. And that day we went in a bus, we went to Radhakund, and we got out, and everybody's just like, it was pretty hot. And looking at that water and knowing that, this is a really sacred place, but at the same time, not having the adhikari, the understandings or realizations yet, how to honor a sacred place. So what we did was what we shouldn't do, and just dove in. Men, ladies, men just jumped in, dove in, splishing and splashing, and Prabhupada was standing. I have to say, I didn't go in because I don't swim. So otherwise, for sure, I would have been in there. But because I don't swim, I got saved at that moment. But I was watching Prabhupada, and I'm seeing him looking, like bending forward, and his eyes getting bigger, and then he's just like, calling everybody back. So he wasn't so happy about our escapade, and he taught we have to understand, appreciate, we have to humble ourselves with gratitude to actually enter Vrindavan, which is speak of Radhakund. So it's not just an external method, I'm going to march in, dive in, it's a state of consciousness. And everything Srila Prabhupada was teaching us was intent on transforming our consciousness, Krishna consciousness, So we have to take it deeply. So it was explained, when you go to Radhakund, it has to be in a prayerful mood. To make obeisances, bow down, and the bath should just be a few drops of the sacred water and sprinkled on our head, So what is the meaning of that is that to deeply humble ourselves, to feel so infinitely grateful. So we should actually feel disqualified for the amount of mercy we're receiving. That here we are, these people, like infant, as people are fond of pointing out, you Western malechas. We definitely were Western malechas, but by the mercy and the grace of Srila Prabhupada, that was being discarded. But, it's still a lot to learn. So, the amount of mercy that we were receiving, that just to touch a drop of the water from Sri Radhakund was an immense blessing. So we should be actually, we should be weeping tears ourselves. We should be on our knees in gratitude. We should be thinking, I just don't deserve this, but by the mercy of Guru and the Vaishnavas, by the mercy of Radharani, I get to see Radhakund and be touched by her holy waters. That should be our mood upon, on entering that place. That this drop of Radhakund is considered the most precious thing in existence by even Krishna himself. Like, who am I? Just like filled with lust, envy, anger, greed, illusion, attachments, all the beautiful things of material life. Who am I to touch this drop? But by the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas and the mercy of Radharani, we are able to be touched by a drop of the holy sacred water of Radhakund. And that's the spirit that was taught by Srila Prabhupada, how to approach Vrindavan, how to approach the holy name, how to approach the opportunity to serve in whatever situation may be. So that is Krishna consciousness. We're conscious of Krishna's grace, conscious of Krishna's beauty, of Radha's love. And when we're conscious of that, then we actually become naturally humble. How can you be proud when you realize how infinitely insignificant you really are? This is not a degraded type of thing. Sometimes people are thinking, well, why should I think of myself like that? And they'll make these affirmations, so-called affirmations. I am powerful. I am full of bliss. They say these things thinking that that's how it's going to happen. Or as the way actually power, beauty, humility comes is through contact with the dust of the Lord's feet through service, So, false pride exposes how far away we are from Krishna. And to the degree that we connect with this divine grace, then we're humbled in a way that we actually feel grateful and eager to serve. We don't feel diminished. We feel actually refreshed and replenished, and we want to serve. We feel gratitude. People, I hear this, I call it the G word, the gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. But you have to define, what is that gratitude? What are you grateful for? And then you've got to express it in some tangible action. Not just we take gratefulness and stick it in our bead bag or, put it in our pocket. I'm really grateful that I'm here today among all of you. And I hope somehow or other that, something can be said that helps you remember Prabhupada Krishna and, something about Lord Chaitanya that makes you feel happy to be here in the surrounding with these wonderful devotees. So there has to be some tangible gratefulness, not just the word. Like people have it, like we were driving out of Indiana you have to go through a lot of farmland there. And then people have these things because it's like some people haven't even got rid of their, what is that, Halloween stuff? And they're like, now they're trying to get up the Thanksgiving stuff, but also the Christmas stuff. So and then you see these great gratitude, and it's like, that's impersonal. Just to say I'm grateful, we have to express it. Not only like, what is it I'm grateful for, but then take some action, express your gratitude through action. So to the degree we connect to divine grace, then we become humbled in a way that we are actually grateful. And that means we become eager to serve and reciprocate with love and humility, so gratitude, appreciation. It makes our service irresistible to Krishna. What is the time frame? Okay. A few things I want to mention, but I'm seeing the time, so I'm going to. Yeah, so inconvenience. A lot of times we make our choices based upon the convenience or the inconvenience, But it's really a matter of how we interpret this in our mind. So yeah, let us actually be grateful and try to appreciate the value and the fortune of what Srila Prabhupada has given us, and that is the entrance into Vrindavan. And then we have this opportunity to make immense volumes of spiritual advancement at every moment when we're there. And our little temple here is part of Vrindavan because, okay, we're in West Columbus, Ohio. Okay, that's the zip code 43201. But really, this is a Vaikuntha realm. This is Lord Krishna. Do you think Natavar, Lord Natavar, Vrindavan Natavar is going to be living in the material world? He wouldn't be here if it was. Because he's a fully spiritual. This is Krishna. This is Radharani. Jagannath Subhadra Baladev. They're not mundane people. They're different, completely spiritual forms of Radha Krishna, Gaur-Nitai, who brought the Harinam Sankirtan movement to life. But we're sitting here because of them. Srila Prabhupada, he declared that the Radha Damodar temple, it's a hub means a center of the spiritual world, and it's situated in the heart of Sevakunj, where Sri Sri Radha Govinda's sweet, very beautiful pastimes took place eternally. And just to give an idea of Srila Prabhupada's intimacy and his profound gratitude, respect, love, and humility. On our first trip there, so we went to the Radhakund, we went to several places. We don't have time to go in that. I could tell you many more places, but right now is not the time. But at one point, they were going by Sevakunj, and one devotee said, "I want to go in there," and other devotees, "Yeah, we want to go in there." And they said, "Prabhupada, you come with us?" And Prabhupada says, "I'm not qualified." Here are we, 5 minutes away from being street people in the most degraded world, Western world, USA. Now we're in this incredible, we want to go to Radhakund, we want to go to, Sevakunj. And our spiritual master, he tells us he's not going because he's not qualified. Yeah. So, Prabhupada taught, which more holy place is there in all creation to be inspired? He came to the temple of Radha Damodar to prepare himself for this great preaching mission. And he was thinking, Rupa Goswami's Samadhi is here. And we're all Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. So he was feeling, if I pray at this Samadhi and receive his blessings, then I might be empowered to fulfill the great mission of my Guru's Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Jiva Goswami is the most prominent of all the writers among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And by residing at his Samadhi, his Bhajan Kutir, by accepting his blessings, perhaps I'll be, and Ms. Prabhupada is saying, perhaps I'll be empowered to translate and give purports to Srimad Bhagavatam in English language. So Prabhupada was there living in Jiva Goswami's temple for 6 full years. It was his Bhajan Kutir, it still is his Bhajan Kutir. And he lived this simple life of chanting the holy names, associating with the Brajabasis, and he was always absorbed in this most prayerful mood. So from the courtyard of the temple, one can see the 2 windows of the kitchen of Srila Prabhupada, and adjacent to his kitchen is Srila Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir. So he lived in those rooms 6 years. And his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, had instructed him in the first meeting in Calcutta that I think most people know the story. You're an intelligent young man. Take the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, spread it throughout the world in the English language. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he saw the heart and the eternal relationship that he had with our Srila Prabhupada. So our Srila Prabhupada came to Vrindavan unlike most people. Although he was in his very old age, he didn't come here to retire. He came to prepare himself for his life's mission. In Vrindavan, he lived a very simple life. And the Goswamis in Vrindavan, they were witnessing his simplicity and his devotion. He was at that time riding back to Godhead. And although Vrindavan was his eternal home, he would leave and take the train and go all the way to Delhi on a regular basis to get the Back to Godhead printed. And then he would go out with his own hands distributing in the streets. And it wasn't like people handing out, I'll take one. He had to work for it. He would go into sometimes the tea shops, because not to drink tea, but a lot of people would be there, And he'd spend the day and then he would return. And there was no Jamuna Expressway. It was like 4 or 5 hours, depending on your conveyance. Actually, just yesterday, one lady, she was part of the Kripalu mission. She was his eldest daughter, Kripalu Maharaj. She took her final breath on the Jamuna Expressway. There was an accident. So nothing in this world is guaranteed except death. Anyway, somebody told Prabhupada, if you really want to establish very strongly, you should publish books. Because they were saying, magazines, people read it, then they toss it. And that reminded him of the order Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had said to him on a visit at Radhakund, sacred place. Print and distribute books. If you ever get money, print and distribute books. So it was in the rooms of Radha Damodar that Srila Prabhupada wrote those translations and the Bhaktivedanta purports in 3 volumes of the first canto. And Srila Prabhupada explained that these purports were his spiritual ecstasies that he was sharing with the world. And daily, he would offer his obeisances, his prayers, his very life at the samadhi of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is our Sampradaya Acharya, and Prabhupada prayed and prayed and prayed for his mercy. And in 1965, he completed the first canto of the Bhagavatam, and it was published at hard effort. Again, getting on a bus, getting on a train, going to Delhi. Sometimes he didn't even have money to eat. He was using every paisa, every rupee to buy paper so he could get the books. And paper was being rationed in those days. So 1965, how many of you were in 1965 were around? Not even you?
1970.
Wow. That's just you and me. When I look at 1965, I'm embarrassed. I don't even want to mention what my life was like. And here was Srila Prabhupada. Who knew that we would meet? So his love for this place, Radha Damodar, the Pushpa Samadhi of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is also there in the Radha Damodar courtyard. And our Prabhupada's love for this place was so deep and intimate that even when he went to the West, whatever he would get little extra, he would, money, he would send it back to maintain those rooms. And he instructed the devotees, no matter what happens, please keep these rooms. And he further said, I'm eternally living in my rooms at Radha Damodar. So, it was 1542 that Jiva Goswami established the deities of Radha Damodar in the sacred town of Vrindavan. And the deities were gifted to Jiva Goswami by his uncle and guru, Srila Rupa Goswami. And they've been revered ever since. Now there's in Jaipur, there's also the forms of Damodar, because at one point with an invasion, the main deities were all being like taken out of Damodar, taken out of Vrindavan and hidden. The invasion was the Mughals, the Muslims. So the deities, in some cases in Vrindavan, they're like, you could say, the originals, and the deities in Vrindavan are like a replica. But it's been established that actually Radha and Damodar are the original, the ones in Vrindavan. And that is because they're a little bit, by measuring, they're a little bit bigger. Because when they would establish the deities that were like the replica deities, they would always be a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller. So, Hare Krishna, we have that great, it's a heritage, we're part of that family, So as we like to hear about our family members, and our, like, Mom, tell me about your father, tell me about my grandmother, we ask our parents. In the same way, we should be very eager to know about our spiritual lineage, our spiritual family, because that family is not going anywhere. You know how it is that we've had so many parents in the past, and we'll have more in the future if we don't finish our business. But our spiritual family, they'll always be there for us. So I think it is time for the, so if anybody has a quick question, Artie's in 2.5 minutes. And I've been really always going overtime, and today I was determined I wasn't going to do that. No, because Prabhupada was very careful about the use of time. And do I think I have something more important to say when here is Sri Radhanathabar, and some of you may only have this one day a week to come and to have their darshan and honor them. So it's important to honor their schedule as well. Kalagiriji.
I am so happy that you have returned to be with us. I'm so happy that you have returned back to the U.S. to be with us. And I am truly, truly, truly grateful for all the service that you've done over the decades in serving Srila Prabhupada's mission. And when you were speaking about Radha pastimes, I was remembering once I was there with you, and we didn't jump in the water, but you said hit the dirt.
Yeah, I used to bring, one time I brought the girls from the Columbus ashram to India. So we get there and we were staying a little bit down from the temple, our ISKCON temple. We had our own house, and it was quite a nice situation. And every once in a while I'd say, okay, because I wanted to keep, there was a number of us. Okay, roll call, line up. And then I go, hit the dirt and roll and call Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And one day, it was not that long ago, but maybe in like a little bit before 2016, maybe it was that, maybe a couple of years before. So on the first day of Kartik, somehow I end up in Vrindavan, and there's some god sisters, and there's another young woman who'd never been in India before, but her father had been a devotee. He was now deceased, and she had contacted me. She wanted to know more about her father, because she knew I knew him. And so I said, why don't we meet? So she was coming to Delhi. There was a devotee arriving, so they came, and then I'm seeing all these wonderful god sisters. And there was another young lady about the same age who was, so I'd say, why don't we go around Govardhan tonight? Because first day of Kartik, how? And without any planning, like not even getting water. I mean, we just said, okay. And somehow by Krishna's arrangement, we got a car. I mean, this was already late in the day. by the time we got to Govardhan, it was 9 o'clock at night. And we start going, and there was thousands of people. It was just so blissful, And we're going and going and going and chanting and chanting and chanting. And it seemed like just when we were maybe about to die from thirst, somebody would hand you some water, then we're going and going and going. And just when we were about to faint from hunger, suddenly all these big pots of warm sweet rice were appearing, and people were passing them out with little clay. And we just kept going. It was so amazing. And we actually, made the complete parikrama. And then we got back to Krishna Balaram exactly at the time for Mangalarti. So we observed Mangalarti and then went back to our respective ashrams and fell asleep for a while. But it was really just so blissful to have. So at this one point, I got everybody, it was dark, you couldn't see. And I said, okay, let's just hope we're all together and get everybody, okay, line up. And there's this one place where if you just step off the road a bit, the dust is so fine. It's like baby powder. So everybody line up. I said, okay, roll call. And kind of, what is that? I said, okay, hit the dust and roll. Krishna, 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 call. Krishna. I went down so hard. I did something to my shoulder, which to this day, I have a little problem with this shoulder. And, I have no problem, but I have a problem, it's like I sometimes have to lift it up like that because it just, the minute I feel that, little pain, I'm just remembering Vrindavan, remembering Govardhan, I'm remembering that dust, so, yeah. Remember when we cooked out there? That was a great day too. Okay, so are they starting the arti? I thought it was at 12:30. What's the saying? Just now coming? So, yeah. So I have a plan, come here, and you're part of it, and I'll tell you after. It's for next year.
Okay.
And so we have time to manage it. But I can say what the plan is, getting a few god sisters together, and Maharaj's yatra is going to be at Govardhan next year. So, put a little jar in your room and start squirreling away your spare change, your spare dollars, and we'll go together. Jayashree's already bought in on that one. Yeah, she said so. Sri Sri Radha Vrindavan Natbar ki jai, Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Sab Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.